and a very hello to you. I am your host, Liam Jarrett, with the Aquarian.tv, opening up and tapping into the collective consciousness. Summer Solstice 2021, baby. In America, we happen to have Father's Day landing on the summer solstice. First day of Cancer. Cancer is cardinal sign, starting us off into the season of summer with a beautiful, grand water trine between the sun, first degrees of Cancer, Jupiter, first degrees of Pisces, stationing to go retrograde. We'll talk more about that. Connecting with the moon as it has just entered Scorpio, giving us a beautiful chalice to fill up. We want to clean out this chalice, which is a metaphor for our soul, our heart even. Wash it away, clean it with the waters. Let Mother Earth and the Lady of the Lake be your midwives as we get ready to enter into the cosmic womb to be reborn. Keeping Jupiter all this wisdom that we've gathered, and as we go into the full moon in Capricorn in in a couple of days, let's say a week from when I'm recording this, from the solstice, that's going to be a clear vision of your new job, your new mountain to go climb up. This is at the mouth of the cave where you get nurtured, fed, comforted, so that you have the strength to complete this karmic journey. The moon, Cancer, Saturn, Capricorn. The moon to Saturn, that is the whole story. The closest luminary, the moon, the furthest one away is Saturn, that we can visibly see. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, that's generational, that's not the physical. This is really, I don't want to say being upset. This is using the physical for soul growth. They're connected. We're a composite being. Mind, body, spirit, my mind, my will, and my desire. We want to, Chiron and Aries, we want to do, this is going to actually square the sun in Cancer soon. This is bringing attention to the need to heal our divine masculine with the sacred feminine. The man has been, I know we're always trying to pick up the sacred feminine, and I'm out there with the flag, but we've been given this fake ass masculinity that is filled with ego and lacking compassion, lacking imagination, lacking love, self-love. So giving us these freaking pigs who are rapists and addicted to pornography and weak and servile and of no threat to any dictatorship or injustice. It's objectifying woman. And if you're objectifying woman, you're missing the human, spiritual, divine, nurturing, creative energy. So then we have a bunch of men who aren't creating anything worth anything. They're just a bunch of followers, order followers. Just doing my job. As they're the freaking Gestapo. Just doing their job. Accepting all the history that we've been given. These teachers are just doing their job. Well, it's the hero in us that is being nurtured. The ego that has been stripped away. South Node Sagittarius. Old belief systems that kept us in the dark, in a box, hidden, weak. That deception, the great deception of Pisces, 2,400 years of being totally deceived. Some of that is fading away. These narratives that we've held the world in. Just sit back and wait, like the QAnon psyop. We've been in a 2,400 year psyop with religion. In the West, Judeo-Christian, Abrahamic religion has been a total psyop to have you just sit back and wait. Just wait for your Savior. Eternally waiting. Where do we hold the Passover? The disciples asked the Christ. His reply, go into town and look for the man bearing the pitcher of water, because this is the great Passover into the water bearer of Aquarius. In our religious myths, lots of them are astral in nature. And then they take their founding nation story and paste it on the stars, usually using elements from others. In the Abrahamic religion, Zoroastrianism, to the east, lots of these stories are from Buddhism, Hinduism, Kabbalism from the east, taken by the Abrahamic faith, and we have this theology with Hebrew names. So you're in Rome occupied. I know this has to do with breaking out of the deception. No, we're going to do a little history exercise. You are the Judeans in Judea. You were previously with the Greeks. And as with the Greeks, you're landowners, slave owners. And then the Romans come in. And so now it's a different folk. So now you have to survive under Roman occupation. You have the elites of the Judeans who are mostly very Hellenized, like King Herod. And you have some of the poorer rebels who are causing commotion, who might upset your kingdom. So, in order to get Rome down, you want to take away their culture. And then the people will follow. A big part of people's culture is their religion. So they managed to get everybody from knowing about Zeus, Jupiter, Mars, Aries, Venus, and they're going to take the cosmological story, put it into a literal version, get them to forget about their gods, and have them worshiping their God, Yahweh, who comes from Ea, E-A, of Sumeria, who got turned into Yahweh, who is also Enki, who is the planet Saturn. So because these magicians and religion creators and freaking Kabbalist masters know astrology, they pay reverence to Saturn, Father Time, the slow outer planet who's behind the throne, behind Jupiter, really working things over periods of time, have totally psyoped the world into worshiping a Jewish God. Christianity did it. As the Jewish don't want converts, you have to be like born into it, blood, which is why lots of them marry their second cousins, even first cousins. So you create a religion that believes in your God, but for the others, for the Gentile, for the Goyim, and who have it in their end time prophecy that the Jewish have to return to Israel, their homeland, for some reason, because God told them that that was their land, so they have right to it. So the Christians believe that this has to happen in order for their Jesus to come back again, when he never was here in the first place. There was never a historical Jesus. It's an allegory, mostly about the sun and the Orion constellation, the Good Shepherd. They're Aries. And so they've taken this, made it literal, have a bunch of people, the whole world, believing in a prophecy that is having the Jewish people returning to Israel, going to Israel, colonizing it, genociding everybody that's there, out of there, so that the Christian prophecy should be fulfilled. It's a total psyop. We think that propaganda and fake news is something new. No, it's all that we've had. Without the TV, they could keep a king in place for years after he's probably already been dead for a long time. The commoner, the person, doesn't know. They're in the dark. They're not in the inner circle, in the know. They're the cattle. They're the outsiders, the goyim. They're not even really human according to Talmudic Kabbalistic texts. They're merely phantoms that are here to serve the chosen. So, breaking out of the Christian Jewish psyop, an old faith system, shattering, it's uncomfortable. I know, I went through it. When I first discovered this, I who went to be a Catholic priest for a year. So what does that do when we find out that it's an allegory? And what does that do to papal succession? A total created thing. Lots of times we bring in religion to justify an authority as being divinely established. And so we have somebody else authoring our lives. Breaking down this limiting belief system is freeing us. It's independence. It's breaking these chains of mental slavery, which further and further is leading into actual physical slavery. Keeping you in a box. Can't go there, can't do this. They just get off on that. Control, power. It's like a drug for them. The mission is coming together, but we need some self-healing, some laughter, some home time to get emotionally ready for the fight, the Armageddon, their self-fulfilling prophecy. They have to take out Edom, who is Amalek, who is Esau, not Jacob. Esau does all the work, fights all the wars for them, sends them all our money for their defense systems, and then takes over. Jacob does all the legwork. Well, I might have a package. Tell me to shut up. And so it's really, really happening. Turning every white Eastern Europeaner into a racist. And turning the blacks versus the whites. So what you do is have them fight their own wars so they kill themselves, and then you step right in. China, Russia, America. Oh, yeah. I got some toner for my computer.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna start printing up a bunch of stuff.
Right. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much.
Sorry to bother you.
Man, they got you working on a Sunday, huh?
Yeah, man, it's a bummer, but...
Get that money, player.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Enjoy your day. So I can start printing my propaganda. Dangerous. They don't want you to have a printer. They don't want you to have the internet. Because this stuff is getting out. They want to shut it down. The ADL. Shut it down. Everything's anti-Semitic. Hey, I'm not really so happy about us sending billions of dollars to Israel, who's airstriking freaking children on the Gaza Strip. Because a bottle rocket goes off, and always hits them their own. They wind up shooting rockets at their own people, is what we get from the Israeli news, filtered through Fox. Rupert Murdoch, a total freaking globalist, scary person, who actually put Jared Kushner and Trump together. And then the left, CNN, is trying to put us in a communist state. Not like commune, like we're a community and we're all together. That's beautiful. This is communism being used to crumble your country. Communism. Antifa, BLM, all started by communist freaking systems. And then who started communism? What do the left and the right have in common? Zionist nationalists. Yeah, they call everybody a white nationalist or a white supremac. And I couldn't be anything further from that. My best friend's black. We're not supposed to say that. Let's get some cards for the summer solstice. You still gotta be able to laugh. Oh, damn. Yeah, the Nine of Swords, Gemini, and Mars. This Gemini season could have us very active in the head. Now, this is lay down the swords and come to your mother. Venus is conjunct this fixed star Procyon for the summer solstice, who is the lesser dog, who is above the Virgin Mary, Isis, the bright star in the night sky. Twinkling, looks like she's crying. They call her the teary-eyed star. Above her, the blurry-eyed star, because it's not as bright, but it still blinks. Major Cana, Minor Cana, the wedding feast of Cana, the Canaanites. This is the two Marys at the tomb of, they follow Osiris, Orion, the Good Shepherd, on his way of the cross. Him in his casket floating down the river, where the Moses story was taken from. The river is the Eridanus, the Jordan River in the sky. Channeling. This is bringing together Mary Magdalene, the sacred prostitute, who uses sexual energy, not in a sock on the floor, but arcing it, anking it. The Ankh is an arc across Earth. That's what we do with our energy. When we just freely lose it, we give it up, and it gets used by something else. We want to Ankh it, anchor it into Earth, so that we are this beautiful, healthy toroidal. Look up a torus field, the toroidal energy system, electric, magnetic, black, white, day, night. We're generating, we're a generator. This is happening with our heart in the middle, the core of this, the cortisone. Now we do heart healing work, emotional cleansing and refilling work. We're getting out of the mental headspace, the monkey brain. We're gonna slow down a little bit. Jupiter's going in retrograde. It'll dip back into Aquarius. I feel like it bless us with some new technology for health. Or Jupiter go back into Aquarius where Saturn's holding it down. That could be an expansion on lockdowns, more internet shutdowns. Or it could be us actually rising up and doing something about it. Jupiter, the great Zeus, Jesus, the son of the sun and the moon. We're making this beautiful triangle, our portal. You must enter into the womb to be reborn again. This is the summer solstice, Cancer axis, portal. A heavenly womb we have to enter into. Higher conscious, out of the animal birth into the spiritual birth, which is eternal. Let's go to this deck. Let's get some clarification on look at the mini cards, on the 9 of Swords. I don't want to just leave y'all with that. Well, I'm gonna go to the Oracle cards, and typically it's like somebody up in bed holding their head like this with a bunch of swords behind them. But their blanket is a quilt with beautiful roses on it. Yeah, asking us to get into that blanket with stars. And it's not work. The work is to not work. Everybody's like, nobody wants to come and work anymore. Yeah, because people are waking up to a higher spiritual consciousness and they're like, this sucks. And the boomers and lots of these other people have been brain warped into thinking that your worth is from how you work. The rich elite who figured that out, they don't work. They have us do the work for them. What do you think, the police are protecting us? The police are protecting them. And in black communities, they'll say is every white person from watching CNN. If you're a Trump supporter, which I totally am not, or if you're just a Republican, which I am neither, you're a white supremacist, according to CNN and MSNBC. Don't even get me on Fox News. Hannity makes me want to throw up. And a happy home, the 10 of Pentacles. And that's what Cancer season's all about, is creating that happy home. If you're ignoring the outside world because it doesn't concern you, your home isn't going to be happy. You can't do that. We go out and we're a warrior, and then we come in and we leave the swords at the door, and we allow ourselves to be nurtured and to nurture ourselves. Being a mother is a warrior type thing. One time I was whitewater rafting with my family, and my little sister fell out the raft. My mom reached over with one arm and snatched her by the back, picked her up, and put her back in the raft. I couldn't do that now. My little sister was probably about 100 plus pounds. My mother was a little thing. All right, bless her soul. She passed. They put Father's Day on Mother's Day. Oh, a little story time. I'll tell you why. Perseverance. Very Capricornian moon type thing. The dung beetle, the scarab, which turned into the crab of Cancer. The sign for Cancer was the scarab in ancient Egypt. The fact that this beautiful feminine sign, the moon, has been turned into a word such as cancer, a disease, is an attack on the sacred feminine, which the dark occult do constantly. Look how many movies they have as somebody blowing up the moon. I bet you're going to try to do it too one day. Bastards. They have a movie Tom Cruise was in where that's just what they did. Some alien race comes and blows up the moon, and it throws off our tides and our seas and our natural rhythms, and the world goes into total cataclysm and then into slavery from these tech aliens. They tell you what the shit they're doing in Hollywood to us and what they plan to do to us. Go look at how many times in movies and TV shows they had the Twin Towers falling. I dare you to YouTube that. Montage. That goes on forever. Predictive programming. Just another peek behind the veil of this Neptunian Pisces age deception. The priests of the priest class that are even above the kings, that's the people who freaking run the media. There's like 4 companies that own all the media. And then you're gonna want to look to see what do those people have in common. Sherry Redstone, head of Viacom, her husband, a Kabbalistic master from a lineage of Kabbalistic Rebbes, was the head at the seat of Viacom just from being married to her, who then later divorced her and moved to Israel and married his cousin. In charge of what our children watch. You think he has the best interest for Babylon, for the new Rome, the new enemy, America? People go to the Kabbalah Center in Hollywood, like Ariana Grande, and it slowly turn you into an American hater. They have a video of her licking donuts at a store pre-COVID in her defense, saying, I hate Americans. Why? Because they are the dark. They're in the dark. They're the dark shards. But you've been chosen. You've been given this light, this knowledge. But they use astrology at the Kabbalah Center. What they do is they bring you in, interview you, and then they set you up with an astrologer. The person who interviews you talks to the astrologer, tells them everything you told them in the interview, does a chart reading, incorporates that energy, that information into the reading, and then the person gets all impressed and then puts them up as a cult leader. And then Bam. And then they shuffled him off to the last leader of the Kabbalah Center, went to become a Chabad Lubavitcher. And look at how they view the West as Amalek, whose remembrance needs to be wiped out according to their scriptures. Esau, who continuously hates Jacob. This is merely a story of the procession of the Gemini twins, of Pollux and Castor. Pollux, the light, the pole light, because that star's closer to the pole. The darker one, closer to the west, rises first, but then the brighter one overtakes him. That's overtaking the birthright in his crown, because it sits in the northern heavens. Astral myth that's been turned into literal stories. There was never a Jacob and Esau or Abraham that ever existed, or Noah, which most of that story was taken from Adrahasis, which is a Sumerian story, pre-Babylon. And they got you singing Babylon, your kingdom is falling, while you are Babylon. Maybe they gave us a real mind screw. Seek beauty. I have to remind myself of this in this world, that the more light you get consciously, the more it shines in the dark, and you see how fucked up things are. And you could go into depression and escapism. But if we seek the beauty by being the beauty, and that's how we create a beautiful home to nurture and comfort us. By being the beauty we seek and interjecting beauty. You know what's beautiful? Truth. And it's beautiful fighting for it. Not choosing cognitive dissonance and ignoring it, because that doesn't lead to a happy home. And that could just be ignoring things that we need to address in our own personal life. You have to go to the tumor and dig with a scalpel to scrape it away. This scorpion moon to really help us do it. With scarab and Pisces. Great water portal for us to enter into, to be born anew. Incorporate water into your rituals with fire to resemble the inextinguishable light that never goes out, but we nurture it with the water. We set up healthy boundaries with in our own self and with others. As above, so below, as within, so without. Let it be done on earth as it is in heaven, bringing the beauty of heaven to earth. And as we show up that way for others, so will the great cosmic mother show up for us. Summer solstice.